Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Sustaita. I'm the president of the Weslaco ISD School Board of Trustees. This public hearing is being conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date, and is also live on YouTube. The time is now 5:46 p.m. and I'll call this meeting to order. I'll now begin roll call. Trustee Rodriguez.
Present.
Trustee Cuellar.
Present.
Trustee Castillo. Trustee De Los Santos.
Present.
Trustee Nieto.
Present.
Trustee Trevino. Okay, let the record show that a quorum of board members is in attendance, even though it is not required for the public workshop. All right, so we'll move on to item number 3, public hearing on financial integrity rating system of Texas First Schools First Performance Report 2023 to 2024 ratings.
I'm liking when I see all these people here for my presentation, but I think they're here for the board meeting. So I'm going to be real quick, try to keep this within 15 minutes or so. Everything that we do present will be on our district website under the financial transparency link. And so you could actually find the past like 4 or 5 years worth of these reports. And so what you will see on the website will be the one with the best base softball team of last year. So if you see that picture, that's the performance report. But what we do have for today is the presentation on that. And so we are always talking about the year before. So the information that's going to be presented here is information that is happening back in June 30th of 23. Even though it's the report that we call for year 24. So it's always a little misleading in that sense, but just want to make sure that that's clear. And so one of the great things I get to present, because of all the hard work of our business office and all the other departments and campuses of the district received a superior achievement rating. So just like how on the academic side, we are also rated on the financial side. And so we did receive the highest available. So again, so this all started back in 1999. And so again, just like how we get rated, there are 4 different types of rating: letter A, B, C, and F. Superior achievement, above standard, meet standard, and substantial achievement. And so, again, the goal is always to get an A for the district, and we have been receiving A's here at Weslaco ISD. Some of the things that we want to focus on are there's 21 indicators. So they check on 21 items of the financials. Some are very critical, and those are going to be the first 4. And if you pass and fail, that's the type of scoring those are. And if you don't actually get a passing grade in those, you are kind of like automatically not in a good way going to receive a substantial achievement. Number 10 and number 15 are actually not going to be scored this year. And so we just leave those blank. Indicators 4, 6, 16, 17, 20, 21 is what they call ceiling indicators. And so if you don't receive all the points for those particular ones, it will put a ceiling as to how many points we could actually receive as a school district. And so there's 100 points, and Weslaco ISD got 100. So. So the next about 10 slides we're actually going to go through each of those indicators. We are required to share 2 years of information, meaning the current year and the previous reporting. If you see it on our screen, you would actually see a 3rd year, just for FYI. So did the district submit its audit report on time? November 27 is our deadline, and for every single year, the district has submitted on time. Number 2, did the district receive an unmodified opinion? Unmodified means clean audit. And again, we have received a clean, unmodified opinion every year. Number 3, did the district was in compliance with all of our debt payments? Just like how most people have a mortgage payment, the district has bond payments. And again, we have been making all of our debt payments on time. Do we pay TRS, Teacher Retirement System of Texas, workers' comp, the IRS, and any other agency? Do we pay them on time? And our great payroll department has been making those payments on a timely basis. Number 5, and I'm going to kind of, the words are here, but I'm going to kind of give my own little interpretation of that. So in case of you could follow along or kind of hear my version of it. Did we have a net position or did we have fund balance greater than 0? Yes, we did. We had 129, almost 130 million in fund balance for the 22-23 school year. Number 6, over the past 3 years, did we have a 25% decrease? We never had a decrease in the past 3 years. We actually grew 21%, 13%, 15% in the past 3 years. So the fact that we didn't have a decrease, we passed that particular indicator. Number 7, how much cash do we have on hand? And so you've heard the superintendent share on his presentations. At the last audit of 22-23 school year, 185 days worth. The goal for us is to have 90 days. So again, when you add in all the different funds, not just general fund, we do have sufficient cash of days. So I'm going to do some math. If I have current assets divided by current liabilities, the hope is that we would have, for every $1 of debt, I would have $3 of cash. That is to get the max points. We are actually at $4. So for every $4 of cash in the bank, I have $1 of liabilities. So that's a good thing. In other words, I have a lot of cash savings. And so you could also see the scoring scale. So what if I had only $2 for every $1 of debt? Well, then I would have only received 4 points. So that's how you kind of read these scoring scales. The hope is to always get the 10 points. And so for us, we passed it by almost a whole dollar more. Number 9, did the district spend more than what we earned? So in other words, did I have a positive, I'm going to call it net profit for the school district? And for the past 3 years, we have. Now, some districts may have a loss, so they have a part 2. In other words, do you have at least 60 days of cash? So remember I was telling you earlier, we have 185 days, 191 days, 123 for the past 3 years. So all 3 years, again, we passed that indicator in either scenario. Number 10 was one of those that I was telling you that is not being rated this year. Now, next year it might, or we'll see that sometimes they may just change the indicators. Number 11. So again, some fun math for us. Long-term liabilities divided by total assets. The hope is that the district would have, for every $1, 60 cents is what the minimum hope of debt you would have. We're not at 60 cents. We're at 24, so which is way lower for that particular ratio. So again, for every $1, the hope is that you have 60 cents of debt. We have less than a quarter in that scenario. So again, when you have that low, it's actually a good thing for 10 points. Number 12. Now, some other math. So you're going to be hearing that throughout my little presentation. And so one thing they're checking here is that how much debt compared to the actual tax values that we have in the district. And so the idea is you would have your debt payments divided by your value, and the hope is it's not more than 4. So luckily for us, we're barely at 1.25. So again, very little debt to what the property values of all the different properties within ISD. Number 13, how much do we spend for administrative cost? In other words, the overhead. In other words, administration. So the hope is for every $1 for a district our size, 8.55 pennies for every $1 should be spent on administration. Well, we don't even spend that much. We spend 7.36 pennies. So percentage-wise, 7% of our money goes to pay administration, which is way less than what the goal is to get the 10 points. And again, you see how the other years go. It is creeping up, but a lot of things have changed with the different needs of the district. Number 14, if we had student decreases, they wanted to see it, how is it over a 3-year time period? In other words, did the district drop 15% in the past average of 3 years? We did have a small increase, but not at the 15% drop to get, or not to get the points. We had a 0.0023%. So in other words, not even 1%, 0.25% drop over the past 3-year timeline. Again, they would have allowed us to get the full 10 points if we had at least, or I guess at the maximum, a 15% drop. And that is a new indicator. So I could see that one going in because, again, COVID. How is it affecting school districts? Number 15 is not being scored. We'll see next year if it is. Number 16. So when we report our numbers through PEIMS, PEIMS is the Public Education Information Management System, in case you didn't know what PEIMS meant. That is how we report our information of student demographics, of our budget, of our audit book to TEA. And so they compare what PEIMS says and what my audit book says. And so they do allow a 3% variance. Well, we didn't have any variance for this past year. The year before was one of those weird years, 2022, because we changed our fiscal year. I don't know if you remember, back in the day, we had an August 31st fiscal year end. We moved to June 30th, so it kind of messed with their numbers for their purpose. But for last year and for this year, we passed that indicator. Number 17, did we have any areas of material weakness in our internal controls in the business office? And again, the auditors reviewed the work and how we process all the business transactions, and they did not find any material weakness. Another audit question. Did the auditors find any non-compliance in regards to grants or contracts or any laws that the local, federal, state funds had? We did not have any, so we did receive the full points. Did we have everything that is required for our business office that needs to be posted on our website? Did we comply? And we did. And so we did receive the maximum points for that indicator. Number 20, did we discuss any major changes about funding within the 120 days of the adopted budget? So this is the reason why we do our budget workshops. In other words, it's a way for our administration to share with the board and the public how are we preparing the budget, what things we had to watch out for, things that are changing, for instance, property taxes, so that we could plan for next year's budget. And again, we did. We did have those meetings with the board. The last indicator, number 21. Did the district have a repayment schedule? So let me explain how that kind of works. If we had estimated, and I'm just going to use some basic numbers, we had 100 kids and we're going to get $1 million from the state. But let's pretend we didn't hit that mark and we only had a very drastic lower number. And I'm talking like 50, like half of what we anticipated. In other words, they paid us as if we were going to teach 100 kids, but if only 50 came, well, then that means I owe TEA half that money back that they pay me on up front. If it's a certain dollar amount, they'll just take it over for next year. That is okay. But if it's significant, TEA would send a letter saying, hey, you owe us way too much, and I'm going to cross years. In other words, it's too much to get all the money back within one fiscal year. We're going to have to kind of take back over multiple years. So that's always a hardship for a district. And no, we didn't go through that process, so we passed that indicator. So now we have the disclosures. So there is about 4 disclosures that we have to have. One is the superintendent contract. We go above and beyond by having our superintendent contract on the district website. And again, the website's here. If you go to the transparency website of the district, you could find it, and you could actually click to see the superintendent's contract. Reimbursable expenses by board members and the superintendent for last fiscal year. So now I'm going to kind of change the timeline. When I say last year, I really do mean June 30th of this year, 1 year back. So this is more current than what our financial information that we were talking about in the indicators. So for July 1 of 23 through June 30th of 24, we have every board member that was part of the district, which is the current 7, plus the superintendent. We do break it down into 4 different categories: meals, lodging, transportation, and other, and at the grand total. So I'm just going to pick on the very first one that has numbers. So Ms. Susaita, $445 for meals, $152.24 for transportation, for a grand total of $597.24. So that's kind of how you would read that particular report.
Question, Mr. Robledo.
Yes.
Just for the public. Now, these are for times that we travel to conferences and so forth, correct?
That is correct.
Just so the public knows why the amount is there.
That is correct.
Okay.
So there is requirements for our board members and our superintendent for sometimes there's trainings, conferences. You had to get so many hours or credits.
Correct.
And so we don't put that burden on you. It is something that you could ask for reimbursement for.
Correct. Thank you.
And again, these are good sessions that the board needs for training and for points, so they're all legitimate.
Exactly.
In fact, compared to other districts, we're lower, much lower. than
This is
other
very little, yes.
districts. So I commend our board for traveling, for getting these sessions that are needed to make a team of 8 better. So again, that's the reason.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there was business transactions between a school board and or related family member and Weslaco ISD. And so we did ask all the board members to fill out one of those conflict of interest forms. And on there, it does say, hey, if there was business transaction between us, please disclose it. We do not have any of those. Now, we do have one board member who says, hey, I do own a business. Well, Dr. Rodriguez, and we kind of knew that. He has a vision store. So he did disclose that as part of his document. We do ask this, the question if the superintendent has another job, and which he doesn't. He does spend full time here with the district, so there is no other outside income for him. One of the questions along with that form for the conflict of interest is that we do ask if there was any disclosures of any gifts from, usually it's from vendors or the outside public. We do have to share if there was an aggregate of $100 or greater value. Everyone had reported back that they received 0. And so just a reminder, this is the 23-24 ratings, which is actually of the data of 22-23. And the district received a superior achievement, 100 points for a perfect score. And again, this is not a work that's done by just one person. It is a team effort from all the different departments of the district, all the different campuses doing their great job, and all the different departments within the business and finance area.
Great job, sir.
And there we go.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have any questions from any board members? Let's open it up.
Good job. Good job to you and staff.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Mr. Robledo, we have Mr. Nieto has something to say.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations to you and the staff that's sitting back over there. You know, tremendous job again on the business area. You mentioned that the fund balance is currently at 130 million, correct?
So
That's total. Food
that's
service
grand
and-
total.
Grand total.
In my mind, it also includes like construction funds
Right.
and other like food service and things of that nature.
Okay.
But when you say this is money that is, in a sense, in our fund balance, whether it's assigned or not,
Right.
they do use that for this particular calculation.
Okay.
Now, I do exclude for our presentations those that is tied to like inventories, which we really can't touch, or other fund balances that we say, you know, that's for something else. And so for us, even that, we are about 120, 130 days.
And what is required by the state?
There is no requirement.
Okay.
There's only a recommendation.
What is the recommendation?
Usually it's about 90 days.
Right.
2 months to 3 months worth.
And we have
We
the
exceed the
3 months.
Yes.
Okay.
I think, and then also because of the fund balance, like we're talking to individuals, some of the projects you saw going on aren't even part of the bond. That's just surplus. And then we have monies coming in. This is my part that's the favorite, right? I like, I always tell people it's the academics and it's finance for me. But these are great numbers, and people need to understand too, when you're looking at 38 districts, regardless of size, I don't care if you're 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, we're probably one of the most dominant financial districts in the Rio Grande Valley right now in Region 1. When we went to the conference in May, they were discussing all the financial shortfalls on other districts. And if you can see just from this presentation, you're looking back from 2020, 2021 school year to now, you saw a consistent increase because there was a lot of decisions, and there's a lot of people sitting in these seats right now that went through that, right, and saw that transition. And realistically, like, you all did a great job as coming in and revamping the business office. I know you're the new CFO, and you came and did that, brought in new systems, processes, documentation, et cetera. So I commend you and all your staff for revamping that and just making something that was good even better. Yeah. But also our staff, too, when it comes down to our finances, the campus administration and department directors, they saw what they were used to, their structure, which was bigger, slowly start to be trimmed down, right? Light, precise, and efficient, right? Going to a light asset model, and you start to see the benefits of that. And I wanted to take the shot right now because I see parents sometimes comment, or just people on social media, they certain articles that come out, and I see people say, well, they just want our kids to go to school. Well, yes, that's the whole point. We don't get paid if your kids don't come to school, and your kids don't learn unless they walk through the doors. And it's a simple fact. We understand there's medical procedures, sicknesses, and illnesses, but the days of, well, I just want to stay home and they stay home, that shouldn't be the acceptable concept for anybody, right? We want to teach these kids because they're our future community leaders. And so that's something we need to be stern on and be very vocal with. You know, we can't kind of dance around the topic and be, yeah, this child has consistent absences. They need to be in class. One, you're cutting back on resources for everybody, and two, they're falling behind on academics. And so this is a great report. It shows the community where we're at. You can see we went from 123 days to 195, then 185. I mean, yeah, things are just great. So, and you can't say anything any more than that. To be in this financial situation with so many people aren't giving the raises, aren't giving the internal stipends. You know, that's not coming out of the general fund. That's coming out of surplus. So, and Dr. Rivera has been exceptional as far as continuing that mindset and even creating a bigger, larger surplus. So So right now, I don't want to get to I know you have your topic in the other presentation, but great job, everybody all around, administration, all staff, department leaders, campus leaders, your office and superintendent and your staff as well too. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. It is 6:10 PM, and for the record, Mr. Trevino has joined the meeting. And just to close that up, I know one of the questions that people ask is how is the financial transparency in Weslaco ISD? I know at our forum, we had that question from the community. A lot of the candidates answered, great. They were very happy with how the transparency here at WISD is. And we actually mentioned how online, for anybody who doesn't know, online at the Weslaco ISD website, under resources, there is a financial transparency tab where you can check transactions in the check register. You can check, and I'm looking at it right now, the first integrity system, all the reports going all the way back from 2015 to right now to 2022. You have budget information. I mean, it's very, very transparent for the public. So if they have any questions on the budget or the revenues or any first reports or the audits, they can go into that website and look.
So one of the greatest things that I've been working with our technology team and our finance team, right there at the very big front web page, financial transparency. We just click on that, and everything you just said is there. We are having all the different, so we were talking about first indicators. Again, you could go back all the way to 2016 and see every single report. After today, I will be adding the new one. But if you're asking about our audit book, our budget books,
Right.
But let's pretend I don't want to read. I like pictures. We also have charts and graphs. And so just to kind of get that information, it's very easy.
Great job.
Visual learners.
So again, just scroll down, how our property values, what is our tax rate? And so this is last year's, we're updating it with this year. But to even explain, what is the taxes, what does that do? We have our M&O, we have our INS. What does that pay for? And how would you kind of see how that would be for your own home? So M&O is to buy our supplies and pay our salaries. It's kind of like for you buy your groceries, you pay your utilities. Then I talk about INS. Well, that's for the construction. That's kind of like your mortgage payment. So that's how we kind of share. Again, all this is on our website. The contract for the superintendent is there. If they want to get a hold of you as a board member, you could click on the link, and again, they have your email address. So we're trying to always add to this a particular webpage.
That's a great
And
job.
so again, it's all out there.
Thank you so much. I like the public access is awesome. All right, if there is no further question or comments, we will go ahead and go to item number 4, which is the public comments on the financial integrity rating system of Texas. Do we have any public comments?
Nobody signed up.
Okay. All right. So then we'll move on to item number 5, which is adjournment.
So move.
All right, it is 6:13 PM, and we are adjourned for the workshop, and now we will move on to the regular board meeting. Does anybody need a break or water? Bathroom? All right, I know the kids are back there waiting, can hear them, so let's keep on going. So good evening. Once again, I'm Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This regular board meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date, and the meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. The time is now 6:14 PM, and I'll call this meeting to order. I'll now begin the roll call. Trustee Rodriguez?
Present.
Trustee Cuellar?
Present.
Trustee Castillo is not here. Trustee De Los Santos?
Present.
Trustee Nieto?
Present.
Trustee Trevino?
Present.
Okay, let the record show that a quorum of board members is in attendance. And we'll move on to item number 3, the invocation. Mr. Elias Trevino, the Director of Assessment and Accountability.
Thank you. Let us bow our heads and let us pray. Heavenly Father, our Lord Jesus Christ, how great and mighty you are. We honor and magnify your holy name. God, in all situations, at all times, you are good. Nothing compares to you, and there is no one like you. Nothing can add to you, and nothing can take away from you. You are constantly powerful, kind, loving, just, merciful, and all-knowing. We are humbled that we get to know you. We thank you for the blessing of gathering once again as a corporate body and the privilege to serve this most beautiful and thriving community of Weslaco. Father, as is always our petition, we ask you to continue to bless and grant greater wisdom to our superintendent, Dr. Richard Rivera, and our board. Lord, may your will be done in our board meetings. Help us to maintain integrity in what you have left in our care. Help us always to be focused on the betterment of boys and girls in Weslaco ISD. Above all, bless our students with divine protection, physical and mental health, and providence. Guard their hearts and minds always. As we enter the fall season, let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap a harvest of blessings. Please heal us of any pride, unforgiveness, or ingratitude that may dwell in our hearts. May we exhibit your love, humility, and kindness towards others. And Lord, begin that work in my life. We ask you all this in your precious, glorious, and mighty name of Jesus. And everyone says, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Trevino. We'll move on to item number 4, the Pledge of Allegiance with Mr. Dan Meddeber.
Good evening. At this time, we'd ask everyone to please stand, place their right hand over their heart, and face the United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'd ask everyone to remain standing, right hand over their heart, and face the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Buttimer. All right, item number 5 are the awards and recognitions. Mr. Carlos Robledo.
Yes, Madam President, Dr. De Vera, members of the board, tonight we want to recognize some of our student athletes for their outstanding performance recently. How about a big hand as they enter the room? We want to start off first this evening. We want to congratulate the Weslaco ISD High School boys and girls cross-country teams. Okay, how about a big hand for the girls as they enter the room now? Here we go. We'll recognize both our groups here. The Weslaco ISD High School boys and girls cross-country teams, because both teams brought home the District 32-5A cross-country championship titles. How about a big hand? First, presenting the Weslaco ISD High School Boys Championship team. The boys are back-to-back district champions and are currently ranked 7th in the state by the Cross Country Coaches Association of Texas polls. Several team members won postseason distinctions. Let's have a big hand for our district champions in boys cross country. We would also like to recognize our coaches, Assistant Coach Dave Morales, and the head coach, who was recently named 32-5A Cross Country Coach of the Year, Tom Owens. We would also like to recognize the parents of the boys. Parents, if you're here, can you please stand and be recognized? Also, we'd like to present the Weslaco ISD High School Girls Championship Team. This is the second title in 4 years for the Lady Wildcats. They won the title back in 2021. Several members of the Lady Wildcats also won postseason distinctions. Let's have a big hand for our district champions in girls cross country. We would also like to recognize their coaches, Assistant Coach Maria Rios, and the recently named 32-5A Cross Country Coach of the Year, Head Coach Josh Davis. We'd also like to congratulate their parents. Parents, if you're here, can you please stand and be recognized? All right. Once again, congratulations to our team members and good luck at regionals. Yep, we're going to take a quick photo. Why don't we do these, and then we'll bring in the individual from Weslaco High.
Boys, girls, if you can take a step this way, please.
All right, congratulations. Okay, okay.
With their team, there's something new that I thought about this year. So, hey, it's always good to have it on yes, you're the same. I'm gonna get you all. If I can.
Mindy.
Okay, we'll get them here. Here you go. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now, Coach Owen?
You still have the, Josh.
Okay, let's see if I can get everybody. Where's Coach Owen? There he is. And we get all the boys. I'm gonna have to, okay, there you go. Awesome.
Congratulations. Okay. We still have one more person we'd like to recognize tonight from the cross-country group of individuals from WISD. How about a big hand as he enters the room? He's a district champion. You can stand right there. All right, well, tonight we also want to honor a member of the Weslaco High School boys cross-country varsity team. He recently won the 31-6A individual district championship title. How about a big congratulations and round of applause. Congratulations goes out to Joshua Rodriguez for this district championship. Regionals is scheduled for October 21st. We would also like to recognize assistant coach Gus Cabrera. Gus Cabrera, is he here? And we'd like to recognize his head coach, Juan Davila. Coach Davila. I don't know if his parents are here, but if his parents are here, can they please stand and be recognized, parents? Once again, congratulations. How about a big hand for the individual one more time? And now we'll take a photo. All right, congratulations, Joshua. Good luck at regionals. All right. Tonight we want to celebrate our campuses that have successfully increased attendance during the first 6 weeks of school. Meeting and surpassing our average daily attendance goals benefits our district and, most important, our students. Meeting the district's ADA standards for the first 6 weeks, we'd like to recognize with a 95.51 ADA, Airport Drive Elementary. Airport Drive Elementary. Come on up, get your certificate. Up next, we'd like to recognize with the 96.88 ADA, A.N. Tony Rico Elementary. Up next with an ADA of 97.89, Kleckler Held Elementary. Also, we'd like to recognize another elementary school, the 97.24 ADA, Margot Elementary. ADA of 97.22, Raul Gonzalez Elementary. Recognizing 97.08 ADA Memorial Elementary. ADA in the first 6 weeks of 95.68 North Bridge Elementary. We would also like to recognize with a 95.68 ADA PFC Mario Ibarra Elementary. ADA 95.71 Rudy Silva Elementary. We'd also like to recognize 96.16 ADA Sam Houston Elementary. For our middle schools, we'd like to recognize ADA of 95.39 B. Garza Middle School. Recognizing another middle school with an ADA of 94.37, Cuellar Middle School. Once again, we'd like to recognize another one of our middle schools and the ADA of 96.74, Central Middle School. From our high schools with an ADA of 94.50, Weslaco High School. With an ADA of 97.01, another high school, South Palm Gardens High School. An ADA of 93.53, Weslaco East High School. All right. Congratulations once again to all of our principals. How about a big hand for all of our schools? Once again, meeting or surpassing our average daily attendance goals. And Madam President, that concludes our awards and recognitions.
All right. That takes us to item number 6, the proclamations for November 2024. So I'll go ahead and read that. Weslaco ISD has a long-standing tradition of excellence and strives to bring together all resources to provide our students and staff with the best opportunities for success. To that end, Weslaco ISD acknowledges and celebrates initiatives, departments, and organizations that join in our efforts to develop, expand, and enrich our learning environment for students, parents, and employees. Therefore, I, Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the Weslaco Independent School District Board of Trustees, do hereby proclaim November 2024 as the College Application Month, National Scholarship Month, and we proclaim in November 2024 Anti-Bullying Week, which is from November 13 to November 17, and National Parent Involvement Day, which is on November 16, 2024. Weslaco ISD urges all citizens to recognize with appreciation our district's commitment to education and helping our children achieve their highest potential. So I will go ahead and sign it. And can we please have a big round of applause for anybody who in our staff that is involved in the organizations with the Anti-Bullying Week or the National Parent Involvement. I know Ms. Garcia is here, the parental involvement. If you guys can please stand. Anybody else who's involved. Thank you for all you do. Thank you. Thank you so much for all you guys do. It's awesome. All right. That brings us to item number 7, public comments. Do we have any?
There are 3.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Can I have the first speaker up here, David Valderrama? Oh, okay, and David Fuentes? Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and read the paragraph. Yes. Oh, so I can just read it one time and there, okay. So the third, Skylar Howell, is he here?
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Howell. You can see there, I'm just gonna read the paragraph for the public comments. And if you could just stand so we can have you on record that you're listening to it, so I don't have to read it every time. So I'm gonna read it really quickly. Pursuant to the Texas Open Meeting Act, the Board of Trustees may not deliberate on any comment made by a member of the public on a subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of this meeting. As per the Texas Attorney General, the scope of board discussion for a subject not part of the meeting agenda is limited to only a proposal by a board member to place a subject on a future board agenda. Specific factual information or recitation of existing policy may be furnished in response to inquiries, but the board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the portion of the meeting designated for that purpose. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board, unless recognized by the presiding officer. No public comment presentation shall exceed 3 minutes. Any disruptive behavior by any speaker may result in the speaker's removal from participation in the meeting. Please be mindful of using names or personally identifiable information, as there is no immunity from defamatory comments while participating in public comments. So just really quick, before we start, can I just have you state your name and address?
David Fuentes, 3619 South Border, Weslaco, Texas.
Thank you. And sir?
David Valderrama, 2313 Flushing Meadows,
Okay, thank you.
Weslaco, Texas.
Dr. Rodriguez, we'll give you 3 minutes, and at the 1 minute mark, he'll let you know.
No worries, I'll be done before 3 minutes.
Okay.
So thank you for allowing us to speak today. David Valderrama works here in the office with me at the Hidalgo County Precinct 1. I want to say hello to all of the Weslaco ISD family that I used to work with, and obviously the newest members. So thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. I just wanted to come and show some pictures about the walking trail that we created there at right outside of the city park on 18th Street. When we were putting in this trail, we realized that, behind Memorial Elementary, we had some conflicts with land usage and ownership, and we thought it belonged to the irrigation district, which I think you all are contemplating some dedication this evening. But in order for us to be able to connect that trail all the way to Border Avenue, we had to have the school district agree to allow us to give us that access to be able to complete it. We felt that that was a great way to create the connection between the jogging trail the lined trail that's there on Border Avenue. So we just wanted to create some more access. I want to thank Dr. Rivera, Ms. Celinda Guajardo, Mr. Americo Garza, and Mr. Abel Aguilar. When we were proposing this expansion of that trail all the way to Border, they met us out there. We shared our ideas with them. And what you see before you today is the compromise that we had between the county and the school, which was that we would, obviously there's student access issues, safety concerns. And one of the things that the school brought up was that we wanted to be more in compliance with TEA regulations with respect to non-scalable fences. So we agreed at the county, in order to be able to provide that extension of the trail, to be able to install this non-scalable fence for you. So what you see now is a completed fence that the county paid for to help with that student safety and security. I know that we're still missing the privacy screen that's supposed to be installed sometime this week or in the next 7 days or so, by the end of next week, hopefully. But I just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Rivera and to the staff for assisting us and helping us get there. We've been trying to actively create this trail to create awareness for health and physical health and mental wellness, because we all know that the more we exercise, those endorphins get us into a better state of mind. We know that this fence will improve student safety, will get you into TEA compliance, and eventually this trail, which right now only extends to just over 3 miles, will eventually be 16 miles long and will connect the Weslaco City Park and Border Avenue all the way to the city of San Juan, where the Precinct 2 trail continues and connects to McAllen, to Edinburgh. Could technically get somebody from the city park all the way to UTRGV. So we know that this is going to be, I think, the second largest trail system in the state of Texas once it's complete. And so I just wanted to say thank you again for your consideration, allowing us to work together in collaboration with Weslaco ISD to improve physical wellness and to provide better student safety. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
It was a
Fuentes.
great project.
Thank you
Very
very
good.
Great job to you and your
Thank you.
staff.
Yes, absolutely. Great job. And if you haven't had time to go out there and take a little walk down the trail, it's really, really nice. It's very peaceful out there just to walk down the afternoons and the sunset or the sunrise or an early bird. And it's nice, very, very nice. So thank you, Mr. Fuentes and the county. Now we have the next speaker, which is Mr. Howell. Hello. And once you get there, if you can just state your name and your address.
Skylar Howell, 1919 East 2nd Street, Wesco, Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. Dr. Rodriguez will give you 3 minutes, and at the 1 minute mark, he'll let you know.
Okay,
You can
perfect.
go ahead and begin.
So first of all, I want to thank the board for taking the time to be able to hear me out today. You guys are doing a wonderful job with the district. For those of you who are unaware, my name is Skylar Howell. Of course, I was born here in Weslaco. I have a lot of family in Weslaco, but I am also a student senator at UTRGV. We represent over 34,000 students, so it's a pretty big campus, both campuses, Edinburgh and Brownsville, but it's at Rio Grande Valley. We represent the entire valley, and so being from the Mid-Valley, I'm sure as everyone here, we were really excited when we saw the Lady Panthers win the state title. And so the first thing I wanted to do was draft a legislation to recognize the Lady Panthers for their historic state title victory. I think it's important for a university to not only recognize the local high schools, but also recognize the local young female athletes and to empower them. And so I wish I could have presented this a little bit sooner, but as you know, legislation takes time, but I'm here today. And just to let everyone know, it was passed unanimously by the entire Student Government Association. I have 2 copies here that I want to present, one to the board. The other copy I wanted to have it presented to either the school or the athletic department, whoever is in charge. And so without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and read it out for you all. I don't know how much time I have, so I'll try to hurry as fast as I can. Whereas the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley is an institution of higher education that first opened its doors in 2015 after the legacy institutions, the University of Texas Pan American and the University of Texas at Brownsville, became a new university. Whereas the Student Government Association at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley is the official representative body of the Vaquero student body and dedicated to promoting the values of excellence, community engagement, and school spirit. And having seen that, the Lady Wesco Panthers, a local high school softball team, have demonstrated exceptional skill, teamwork, and dedication throughout the 2023-2024 season, exemplifying the values that the Student Government Association upholds. And having further seen that, on June 1st, 2024, the Lady Wesco Panthers achieved a significant milestone by winning the state title in the Texas 6A division and were crowned the first softball team in the Rio Grande Valley to win the state championship, bringing unprecedented pride and honor to our region and serving as role models for aspiring athletes. And having further seen that, the Lady Wesco Panthers have not only excelled in their athletic endeavors, but have also embodied the values of sportsmanship, perseverance, and school spirit, which align with the core principles of the UTRGV community. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Student Government Association at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley hereby recognizes and congratulates the Lady Wesco Panthers for their outstanding achievement in winning the Texas 6A Division state title on June 1st, 2024, and being the first softball team in RGV history to achieve this prestigious honor. And therefore, let it be resolved that the Student Government Association extends its heartfelt appreciation to the coaches, families, and supporters who have played a vital role in the team's success, acknowledging their contribution to fostering a supportive and thriving environment in our region.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, thank you.
Mrs. Sustaita, can you,
That's awesome.
can you have him presented to Morales?
I was just thinking Ms. Morales can get with him, so maybe they can plan on him presenting it over at the Weslaco High School, yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Can you present it to Ms.
Ms.
Morales
Morales?
right now, so that way she can take this here?
The principal.
Okay, ready. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice.
Skylar.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, if there are no further public comments, we'll move on to item number 8, the superintendent's report. Dr. Rivera?
Yes, thank you. My first slide is the is the ADA. As mentioned earlier, we set the budget at $14,500. So for the first 6 weeks, we exceeded that to $14,768, which is a plus 268. So far, if we continue, for the first 6 weeks, the surplus is almost $2.3 million. We also have a good start to the second 6 weeks. So the amount, the ADA right now is $14,830. So it's after 2 weeks. So it's a good start to the second 6 weeks. Again, I want to commend our principals, our staff. They're the ones responsible for all of this. A good job to them. The next page is, this is the digital billboard conversion. It's a non-bond project. We anticipate the completion in November of 2024. It'll have more multiple use for us. We can change it more rapidly. And we're going to highlight, again, the district in academics plus athletics. So, again, the completion will be in November. The next slide shows, again, very, very proud of the baseball and softball fields, the turf. And the one at Weslaco High, the completion time is January 25, kind of just in time for the games. Again, it's a non-bond project. The engineer is Half Associates. The contractor is Hellas. And this will require less maintenance, safer surface, and it's going to be used at all levels, elementaries and the middle schools when they have during the non-season for softball and baseball. Again, on these projects, we're also going to have scoreboards, the dugouts, the fences. So there's more that will be added to this. So it should look great come January 25. On page 6,
We're the state champions.
yes, for the state champions.
Okay.
Right. On page 5, the same thing for Weslaco East, baseball and softball. The engineer is Half, the contractor is Field Turf. And again, the completion date is January 25. So we have 2 contractors, and we're going to see who finishes first. It's a big contest among them. So again, we're very excited about this for the new baseball and softball season. On page 6, this is the Panther Wildcat Field Turf. Again, the time the completion will be in July. So right after graduation, we're going to start with the work. The boots on the ground right after graduation. And again, we expect this to be ready by July. And the field is used for elementaries during the relays, for track, for band, for soccer. So it's a use for many of our programs here in the district. On page 7, finally, we got the football stadium chairlift ready. So it should be ready by this Friday. And again, what this is, from the floor elevator, it goes to the press box. From the press box, it goes down to the lower porch. So again, this will be in high demand for the people that need the wheelchairs to get up. So again, it was a long process, but finally it's finished. On page 8, this is part of the bond election. We're going to have burning tracks at Big Garza, and Dr. Cuellar, Mary Hogue, and Central. The anticipation completion will be March of 25. It is a bond project, and again, if you can see to the left, the one at Barbie Field is in real bad shape. So again, the winners are the boys and girls of Weslaco ISD and the 4 middle schools. On page 9, this is elementary, the pre-K, the special needs playground. It's on tonight's agenda. The completion date is April 25, and again, our kids at the special needs don't have very much right now, but with this, it's for all 10 schools. So again, the winners are going to be the boys and girls that will use this playground.
Doctor, just wondering, is it going to include a canopy also on top of the playground, or is it just the playground?
It's a canopy also, I believe.
Canopy
Yes, the
also?
canopy also.
Very Thank you so much for thinking about our special needs
Yeah, they're
kids.
very
It's awesome.
special.
They're pre-K ones
Very
too.
special to me and to the principals and to the district. On page 10, it's on tonight's agenda, these basketball goals. The ones that we have are pretty old, they're very heavy to move. So again, it's a non-bond project, and the completion would be April of 2025. On page 11, safety and security. The goal here is to become better than last year. And the first bullet, a phase 1 approach for the doors and the entryways to the campuses to address the aging door hardware and upgrades. It's also on tonight's agenda. It's again safety and security. We're also studying the metal detectors at the stadium, wands, and for sure we're going to have something here hopefully this year, but for sure for next year as the fans enter the stadium, also for safety purposes. And as mentioned last month, we're also studying safety and security alert system for our campuses. What we have right now is good, but we want to become better to make sure that all schools are secure, safe and secure. When the parents send their kids to school, we want them to be safe at all times. And for the games, we have 4 home games left before the playoffs. We're going to add additional security to our stadium to ensure safety.
Doctor, when we say that, because I know people are concerned about the safety right now with the incident that happened, a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. When we say studying the metal detectors or studying additional safety, what exactly are we going to be doing at the games to make sure that things like that don't happen again? Do we have any plans?
Well, the plans are with the metal detectors.
Okay.
For sure. But to get this is going to take time. So again, we're going to add more security at our games to ensure that this does not happen again.
Okay. All right.
What happened was outside the stadium, but it was still our stadium. And I want to commend our staff, Danny Reina and the staff, because they moved quickly and the local police to take care of the problem. The student we identified, and there will be consequences.
Thank you,
Dr.
Doctor.
Rivera, will you put that out on social media to let staff, fans know that that's another rule that, do not bring any firearms
Yes.
to the stadium?
Yes.
Even the parking areas, I mean, we will have more
Right.
security
More
out in the parking
security.
lot. Okay.
So on the next slide, NHR, again, we want to be better than last year. We're going to start the planning phase for the new applicant portal for more efficient and user-friendly. We're working with the mentor-teacher grant. We'll provide funds for mentor-teacher stipends. And then I'm continuing we've done elementary. We found a few teachers that were not certified completely. They're on permits. So now we're doing the same thing for secondary and the bilingual. On page 14, technology. Again, the goal, the plan is to be better than last year. We have the web content filter. It's going to upgrade the hardware and software to increase performance and access to the websites, again, for student and staff safety. We have the domain names servers. We're going to replace 2 district main servers, again, for quicker access to the websites for educational resources and cybersecurity to protect tools to protect our district. We're looking at, on C, the district phone system, replacing the old phone systems with new technology, and the goal is the summer of '25. We're looking at replacing the old campus intercoms. Some of them are pretty old, so you want to make sure that they're all working, and the goal is the summer of '25. Backup system, upgrading for larger capacity backups and more storage for offsite backup, disaster recovery. So again, these are things we want to get better in technology. Did I skip? I skipped one. I skipped business and finance. Let me go back to page 12. Business and finance, again, better than last year. And again, what we're doing is the web page, again, will be there to answer frequently asked questions. On B, we received a grant, a fresh fruit and vegetable grant to provide to our elementary schools. And the schools are Airport, Margot, Northbridge, Mario Ibarra, Raul Gonzalez, Rico, Rudy Silva, and Sam Houston. The 2 campuses that didn't qualify, we're going to go ahead and do these through local other funds.
Now, just to confirm for the public that's listening about this, I know I worked on this grant a few years back before COVID. That this is going to provide, just correct me, I don't know if it's changed, but I know this will provide the fresh fruit and snacks, but it's available to students in the classroom during the day. It used to be that way and operate that way. I don't know if it's still the same?
Yes.
That way, if they're hungry, they can just go get an apple, a banana, things like that, or granola bar, that
Yes.
type of thing. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. Usually about 2 p.m. it goes up to the classroom.
Right. Okay, great.
I remember getting those when I was teaching, and it was absolutely needed for the kids at that time to just pick them up and give them some energy again. So thank you so much for that grant. Good job.
And on, again, curriculum and instruction, page 15, the goal is to be better than last year. We're going to go ahead and make some changes. The teacher incentive allotment data was submitted in September, so we should know by February, and we just feel confident that we're going to get funded. On B, the Weslaco Early Childhood Blended Learning Program was recognized by TA. On C, we expanded the iReady curriculum implementation in kinder through the 5th grade in our 10 elementaries. The bilingual department launched the Elevation, a new software to enhance LPAC compliance. We're going to start again with the elementary UIL, preparing for students in December. This is the first one since 2019 because of COVID. On the last bullet, we have reduced 7 instructional coaches this school year, and we'll hire 3 experienced curriculum consultants to improve the academic performance. The goal is to increase by 1 or 2 letter grades. Again, we stress academics. Goal is to have as a district a TA ranked school district. I want to say that the consultants that will be hired, they're not going to be administrative contracts. They're going to be November through June. We're going to evaluate if they're effective. And the goal here is academic excellence, and it'll be evaluated. But again, the goal here, we want to be good in academics and athletics, but the goal here is to improve what we have for next year.
And they'll be focusing on the campuses?
At all the campuses.
At all the campuses?
All the campuses.
Okay.
The middle schools, the high schools, and the elementaries. Page 16, the bilingual ESL program evaluation. Our bilingual ESL program is the annual requirement in accordance with TA. Below is a summary of the data. And again, the goal is complete student success. 25% of the students are bilingual and are serviced in either our yearly exit transitional program or through ESL, 25%. 44% of bilingual students met growth in the Texas education language in TELPAS. 60% of the bilingual students performed at the approaches performance level or higher in the 24-star and end-of-course exams. The staff, they've trained 264 teachers throughout the year by offering professional developed sessions. We will continue again to monitor teacher certification to make sure that they're properly certified and work with HR to submit for waivers, permits, and exceptions if needed. Again, this is required by TEA. We're on task. We're good right now. We want to become better. And then the last slide that I have is the LSG monthly academic report. Again, the goal is student success. Goal progress measures 1.1 to 1.3. The kinder, you can see the 46%. The first grade, 35%. The second grade, 1.3 to 46%, 35%. On B, the constraint progress measures 2.1. Elementary class counts, the class size waiver was submitted. There are few, not that many on the waivers, and we will continue to monitor enrollment in all classrooms. Again, this leads to the Lone Star governance agenda items, but again, this is the monthly academic report on Lone Star. There are 17 slides, so do you have any questions on any of these slides?
I just would like just so the public can know, or I cannot wait for the LSG, but it's kind of the same thing, so I might as well just ask the doctor. When you say class size waiver application, doctor, can you explain what that actually means?
Some of the classrooms were about 22 to 1. So we submitted a waiver, but we've added additional help to those classrooms, additional aides or substitutes to help. There weren't that many, but again, this is normal, that's done throughout the state. And again, the goal here is to be at 22 to 1.
Dr. Rivera, can I ask, since it's Principals Month and they're here, how many of those schools have more than, say, 5 classrooms at 23 to 1 or 24 to 1? You know, now,
I see airports.
I can see a few.
You can raise
like-
your hands. Oh, thank you.
All the elementaries mostly, yeah.
But you said you provided additional support, correct?
Like paraprofessionals, like teacher aides helping in the classrooms, or?
Yes.
And if we have additional money, as was presented, you know, I think a lot of times the principals will need that additional teacher or 2 teachers, depending on the grade level. You know, sometimes, me being a high school principal, I never really thought of that, but I've learned that an elementary level is a different scale. And, you know, especially for the teachers, you know, the principals they're going to say you're going to have 24 to 1. But let's think about the people that are in the trenches, the actual teachers. A lot of times the principals will say, you know what, I'll make it work. But the teachers need that additional support. That's my 2
You're
cents.
telling me, I have 18 right now, and I'm just have my hands full, so I can only imagine 22, 23. It's very difficult to have that small group or just really pay attention, and you do all that you can, but having a lot of kids really does make a difference in the success academically of the kids. So that's another thing to think about also.
I had a couple comments. It's a few, but they kind of all tie in together. They all go back to surplus funding. But one of the things I know we've talked about a lot is our bus transportation. We have a brand new fleet. They're equipped with Wi-Fi. They're equipped with HEPA filters. They're air conditioned. We have exceptional bus drivers and a wonderful department. And a while back, we started talking about, I don't know if it ever got implemented, we had an app that we're looking at to kind of have so parents could have more confidence in sending their kids on the buses. An app where it would identify them, kind of like Lyft and Uber, where they'd be able to see, okay, bus 56 is down the road, my son's going to be dropped off soon. They'd be able to track the bus or follow the bus just to give them some more confidence. I don't know if that ever kind of fell to the wayside, or is that something that's optional out there for parents? Because I think that's something that, you know, maybe we can look at to increase the usage of our bus fleet, because they're brand new. I don't want to throw anybody in the bus, but I look at our competition that's out there. It's not really competition, but you see their fleets. We have brand new buses. I mean, we have everything for them. And I know that the percentage in the usage for a lot of campuses is low. And we see all these cars in the road, right? So that was one. That kind of leads to the surplus on talking about expansion. We have multiple subdivisions right now being built in Weslaco. Some of these campuses have hundreds of lots that are fourplexes. These administrators need to think, all these kids are coming to me soon. If I'm already at capacity and I got 5th grade classrooms at 30 to 1 or close to that, what am I gonna do when these things open up? You know, airport has some down the road, you know, a massive complex down the road too that I'm pretty sure they're seeing an influx there, Memorial, Margot. You're seeing all these schools, and now you're seeing these complexes just down the road on TIF 15 down by Rico and where all these other schools are at, and Mary Hogue Central Middle Schools. So you're gonna see hundreds of families moving in, and you're gonna see all these kids now arriving. So I know that we did a bond on critical elements such as roof systems and AC systems and all this other stuff as well too, right? These things that we're seeing presented on. But have we now thought, and looking at the surplus that we have, about additional wings, other than rezoning, but like additional wings to bring on more teachers, lower classroom sizes? Because like you were saying, having a high classroom size affects academics as well too. When you're going 23 to 1, 30 to 1, et cetera, at that level, you're gonna have some kickback. And what's that gonna be? That's the instruction in the classroom is gonna be strained. And then you're gonna have your instructional capacity is gonna be lowered because you're overflowing with kids. So maybe that's something the district should look at and talk. We can maybe get with the city because there's a lot of permits out there. The last time we had talked, there was like 31 subdivision permits throughout the city, and that was housing and also multifamily. And now it's kind of leaned more toward multifamily. So And within, what I'm looking at is, what I'm trying to say is, I guess within the next 18 to 24 months, you're going to see a population increase, which is good, but can we sustain them? And then can our campuses still be effective and house them?
Good points. And we're doing a study, and I think we discussed before, there could be a second bond election coming up soon.
Right.
As we look at additional classrooms in schools that we need.
Definitely.
The schools are,
Good points also on the buses.
Thank you.
We'll take a look at that.
yeah.
Yes.
On transportation.
Hadn't we started that, like
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
De Los Santos, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they kind of fell.
Okay. So it hasn't been implemented yet?
No.
Totally?
I'm
Not
not
the
aware,
rollout.
so I'll ask.
It's the Z-Pass cards that you're talking about on there, and I think right now, it's been, I think the biggest obstacle that we face on the campus, especially at the elementary, it's misplacing of those cards
Right.
on there. So it's just trying to work through a system that's
Yeah.
gonna be coordinated and getting that in place, but that's something that's in discussion, I know, through with transportation.
And I saw also, like with the surplus funds, I just thought of one more thing too, is some of the campuses were built for a different time frame, right? Back then, I remember kids used to walk, I remember being first grade walking down Bridge Street, right, from Roosevelt. But now we have a large pickup population, right? I see it myself. Sometimes I have to pick up my children. I'm like, wow. And they do an exceptional job. Throw a shout out to Central. They do a quick job of getting everybody through, but it's a lot of cars. And I see other elementaries, certain roads, there are just so many cars. And are we also looking at maybe possibly increasing lanes, like using that excess property to build additional lanes so that you can fit more cars on? I know one elementary, Northbridge, I went to go do a fundraiser and I saw how they had redesigned their drop-off because they have a massive parking lot that's all connected. So they have that ability, but some of the others don't. All they have is, their only real estate is grass. But maybe the district, I've seen other districts that they do that and increase the pickup and drop-off lanes, kind of like a snake type figure. And they get more cars off the streets. And maybe that's just, I'm just going to throw that out there. I've seen that.
We're looking at it.
Mr. Elat, you said, what was it called?
Z-Pass?
Z-Pass, yeah.
Is that like an ID for students or
That
what?
is correct. It scans the ID, it scans the address of the student, the location, to pinpoint on a map on there. And I know that's something that they're still trying to iron out through transportation.
Okay. Okay. Good job.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you for that discussion. And like Doctor said, we'll continue to monitor the enrollment in all the classrooms. And like Mr. De Los Santos said, if the population is increasing, they'll be monitoring all that. So thank you very much to the staff.
Yes.
All right, so we'll move on to thank you, Doctor, for your report.
Thank you. We'll talk to you later.
Item number 9, Lone Star Governance with Ms. Solano.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here to answer any questions on the last slide.
I'm going to go ahead and open up the reports you sent us. It's on the board book. Are those also available online for the public through on board book?
I believe so.
Okay, because I know that we had said we were going to post these on the website, right? Like and are they posted on the Lone Star Governance website
So
also?
they have them on the website. I don't know if the individual monthly reports have been posted already, but I
Okay.
can check on that.
Okay. Does anybody I'll start with Dr. Rodriguez.
So just to clarify, this right here, we're for kinder, we measured at 46% and the goal is 58%? Is that how?
Yes.
Okay.
For kinder, the goal is that 58%, what you see on that yellow tab. Right now, it's beginning of the year, so we just collected data. This is where teachers have already met with their principals, leaderships, instructional coaches to make sure that they attain the goal for end of the year. Yes.
And aside what we're doing on campus, what are we doing to get parental involvement with these goals?
So I think one of the first things that we did is we made sure that at all campuses, as soon as assessment window was over, send out reports, right? Make parents aware of where we're at, where their child is starting, what the goal will be for middle of the year, what the goal will be for end of the year. We believe that in chunking, the goal is more attainable than saying you have to be here by the end of the year. So every student score is unique, right? The growth, the performance is unique for every child. So again, one of the things that we have in our grading policy too is if student is struggling, failing, then those parent conferences are required. And then our parental program, Ms. Erica Garcia does an amazing job with parent.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
is our goal for the end of the year, the 58%, the 46%, and the 46%?
Yes, sir.
So it's growing every 6 weeks?
Yes, so right now, for LSG purposes, for HB3, we look at achievement. Again, I do want to remind the board, we're looking at achievement at the meets performance level, which is very hard to attain for your STAR end of course assessment students, right?
Correct.
So we're not talking about the approaches anymore. So the closer we get to meeting that goal, the more prepared students are by the time they get to third grade.
Thank you.
Yes.
And just to clarify, in case anybody, hasn't been with us too long while we've been talking about LSG, our coach explained it very well when he said, just look at it as a basketball game. And you have a goal at the end, it's to win, right? But at every quarter, you're checking, you're the coach, and you're checking, okay, how are we doing? Well, we're not the coach. Superintendent is the coach. We're just, like he said, you're the owners, and he's the coach. And he's going to be checking for you at every quarter. How are you doing? Is your score down or up? You know where you have to be, so that at every quarter or at halftime, you make changes so that you can get to the goal. And just to explain, our goal is to look at third grade, the reading, the STAR third grade results. And how do we get there? Well, we're going to monitor kinder, first, and second. So as they go and grow into third graders, we're measuring them so we can kind of predict where they'll be as third graders. So this is the reason why we're looking at kinder, first, and second for this month, because it's a predictor of how they'll do when they're in third grade, when they take the STAR test. Right now, we're using the MAP.
Yes, sir.
Yes, MAP RLA. Any other questions?
I have one. Just resources for reading, for the. I know we're looking at the fundamental levels, right? So I saw something on another district, but I want to ask you all first. I just thought it was a good idea. But what do you give those children, especially like pre-KK? Do they have an iPad? Do they have apps, or are they given something like when they go home? Like what resources? I've seen the folders, right? My daughter's in kinder, and I think they're outstanding, right? Because we work with them. That's our homework, right? I know, because Dad has to do homework too sometimes. I get that folder in my hands, and then but what else do we give them as far as technology-wise? Because you see that even our young population of children out there, you see them at restaurants, you see them all the time. They're just like adults, right? Staring at a screen. So are we tapping and transitioning toward a technology type mindset? Because I've seen, like I saw one district, and I saw it on TED Talks, they were talking about their reading scores, but they start at the foundational level, like pre-KK. And so one of the things that they do, they buy them like a student iPad, and then they load it with like the top apps. And I don't know how they lock it so they can't use it any other way, but it's like a tablet with just the top apps. Those kids get to go take it home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw this on the financial side, because I know Dr. Rivera is probably thinking he's talking about technology. But if you look at the investment, I thought about it. I was like, well, a classroom full of 22 students is going to bring in about $187,000, right? General funding, depending on population and weight. But if you look at the cost of a $200 student iPad, it's like $4,500, right? Plus the apps that you load up on there. And so I was thinking, what a great investment. Like it's very, there's software, there's textbooks out there and curriculum and resources that people buy that cost $150,000, $200,000. This is for one pre-K class, you'd be spending $4,500. They have a tablet consistently they can use. You can monitor usage, and then you start, kind of giving them an additional resource to build those foundational skills.
So
what else? What do we have?
It's definitely a great idea. I know that if I'm wrong, please, elementary principals correct me, but devices stay at school. Right. Devices stay at school. So we have great programs, right? Softwares. Right. So definitely something we can look at.
And we have a one-to-one, like in those populations, the pre-KK. I mean, I want to bring it up.
We have iPads, and then we have Chromebooks.
And I know I had brought it up the last time we talked about this, how some first grade teachers were telling me it's kind of hard to have the kids test or do these things on a Chromebook versus an iPad. And now that I'm in the classroom and every kid has a Chromebook, but I only have 5 iPads. And the iPad is just so much easier to get on there for, and I know that where I'm at, we don't have Clever, and I think we do have that at Weslaco ISD, right? So they don't have to remember all the usernames and the logins. And believe it or not, those little details actually matter. It's a big difference in a student's success, just knowing how to use those, knowing how to log in, knowing how to use a password. And it's a headache when it's Chromebooks. As a first grade teacher, it's a headache every morning when I have to help them log into iStation for like 30 minutes a day. And they're working on it. They've been doing it for 2-3 weeks. But an iPad, the ones that have the iPad are right away. So it does make a huge difference. And I know you had said there was a program. When I had brought it up last time, you guys said we're going to pilot with some first grade classrooms. How did that go with that pilot that we had said?
So Mr. Amdahl Really quick, I know that he works closely with our campuses and their technologies and innovative needs, so.
It's going very well. We're actually piloting, the typical device for pre-K kinder is an iPad.
Right.
But we're piloting in first and second grade with one-to-one with iPads, and we're getting very good feedback. They're a little more dynamic. We have a system that can control what they have access to. We use a thing called Apple Classroom that allows the teacher to hide apps or open apps. They can send files to the student, receive files. Gives them a lot more control, plus the kids access it a lot faster. The login is a lot faster.
And the student iPad cost is around $200?
They're about $300 now.
$300 now?
They're getting
Okay.
better. But there's some innovative ways to fund that. I actually went to an Apple leadership meeting recently at Region 1, and some districts are doing a lease program where you commit to using iPads, and so they give you a 4-year deal, and at the end of 4 years, you have a contract that they'll buy that device back for $125. So it ends up costing actually probably about $200 a device once you do that.
Right.
So-
And I saw the benefits of it because one, I'm thinking money and then academics, right? So one, you saw the reading scores go up. You saw those kids now going home and actually working on it at home. And two, you saw the enrollment go up as well too. Because now you're giving additional features that other districts don't to those parents that have choices at the pre-K level, kinder level, So that's why I wanted to bring it up and see if that's something.
We should have data from those pilot classrooms as well to share at mid-year, just to see if performance increases.
Right.
And then, of course, being mindful with the younger kids too, to balance that online time with offline time, because we don't want to promote 8 hours of screen time a day for young children. It's not appropriate, but if it's high quality, then you can stretch that a little more, give them more time on the screen when they're just not watching videos and playing games, they're actually doing reading and math.
Yeah, at-home resource.
To piggyback on Mr. Los Santos, firsthand, Alvin Independent School District, unfortunately, my brother works there, and they have this type of initiative with the iPads at his school and actually 18 other elementaries. It's a big school district. And those programs are working for those students. And I see it firsthand with my niece, 4-year-old, and the 2-year-old. So again, if other districts can use it, I think our elementary principals and students will.
Yeah, and now that you say that, Mr. Nieto, I know that I have some friends over in Harlingen, some principals, and they, like Zavala Elementary, there's some Apple certified or Apple something
Apple
school.
Sigma schools.
Yeah, how can we do that?
You
How
can.
do they do that, or what? How can we do that?
What you do is it's an application.
Right.
It requires you to use a certain amount of Apple devices. Teachers should be using Apple devices. Students should be using Apple devices. You fill out an application about how you're implementing Apple tools to help students and teachers, and they evaluate that, and then they base the award or the non-award based on your application.
So they get like just extra technology or extra
No, it's a
services?
recognition. I think there's no value to it other than it's just a badge of honor of some sort from Apple saying
Oh, okay, I thought maybe like it was a benefit to it.
they don't actually give you resources. They honor your efforts and your successes.
Okay.
And we'll add too, just so you know, the leadership event I went to was talking about using iPads in multilingual classrooms, and we came back with some tools that we're trying out now that help kids with language. Like it's got a built-in translator. You can have a story in English, press a button, it takes a picture of it, reads that story back in Spanish.
Correct.
So it's a little more versatile in those ways than, say, like a Chromebook. So we'll explore all aspects of it and come back with some data for you.
Awesome. And now that I have you up here, Mr. Amdahl, I think it was you who had talked about flexible seating in the classrooms. And I had asked Dr. Rivera about that because I just went out and spent a lot of money that I probably shouldn't have on buying these, things for my classroom for the seating, because you have those kids who can't really concentrate or constantly moving or wobbling around, but they do concentrate. It's just that they don't sit still. So, and I was thinking about this, and I was bragging to everybody about how Weslaco we were getting these. But how are we doing with the flexible seating for the kids?
We have a variety. In fact, Ms. Solano tasked me with doing a little investigation today. What we have is we have pockets of flexible seating, and then it varies by campus. We don't have like a district standard, which is something we're looking at. But I was in classes today where kids were on wobble chairs, which they like.
Yeah.
Kids were on soft furniture on the floor. There's floor seats. I think it, especially the younger kids, it gives them a sense of ownership. I get some choice in where I sit. I get to be comfortable. I think it makes them more productive. Those classes tend to, when you first walk in, they look a little disorganized, but it's disorganized with purpose because the kids get to choose. But I think it's something we are looking at, but maybe try to standardize as a district so we can see more consistent opportunities for flexible seating across the campuses.
Well, I just went and put mine today this afternoon, and tomorrow the kids are going to walk in and be like, what's that? So I'll figure out, I'll see if it really works or not. I'm going to see firsthand. But I think because I think that really does make a big difference
I
in the
believe so, too.
concentration and the focus of the kids.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you so much. And now that he's talking about the foundational skills, one of the areas to focus on for kinder here, it says foundational language skills, beginning reading and writing. And I know that you have a lot of programs already, like iStation and the NWA. What exactly do we want to do to focus with this foundational language skills, beginning reading and writing?
So one of the things that we've identified, right, in speaking to our CNI department and our elementaries is we see it specifically more in kinder and first grade. Kinder because they probably didn't attend any schooling. We still have a number of students that have not attended pre-K, right? In first grade, one of the things that we're revamping or looking at studying is extending our summer school program to our kinder students, because 2.5 months to 3 of summer loss makes a huge impact in our first grade scores, right? And it just reinforces those foundational skills. So you saw one of the bullets Dr. Rivera presented. We added the iReady program. So that is not only a diagnostic, but prescriptive, so that should help as well.
I did get my daughter's scores with the iReady. I got the report. Is that something that parents can work on at home can they log in at home, or is it just something at school?
So as of now, we have it only at in the school system.
Okay. And when you say that, because during summer, there's a drop, right? I'm looking at kinder, and of course, we're going to expect to see that drop. But in 2024, it was 55. In the beginning of the year, it's 46. But this 2024, that's not the end of the year, right? That's the beginning of the year?
The 2024, the bottom numbers are the targets, is where we want to be at the end of the year.
Okay, I thought is where we had left off, like end of year or something.
Those are just the goals.
Those are just the goals, okay. And then I'm looking also at special education in kindergarten. Currently, they're at 30%, and the target for this year is 22%. So they're actually above.
Yes.
So one of the questions: how can we replicate, or what are they doing that's working that we can replicate over in first grade, who's at 3% currently, or even second grade? What are they doing differently?
One of the things that we discussed, because when they tested for beginning of the year, when we collected data, was the third week of school. Right, so one of the things that we're tasked is, and usually first and second week are routines, procedures, reviewing, right? So this is the data that we're studying closely to see. We also do believe too that having an education pre-K3, pre-K4 2 years now for those babies who were with us has helped.
Oh, awesome.
Kind of like a science lab. When they first come in, the teachers are teaching, mask, equipment, safety positions, where to rinse your eyes, those type of things.
Yes.
Same thing with the younger,
Yeah. And I know you mentioned Miss Erica Garcia with the parental involvement is they do really great things. And it says here, what needs more attention is strengthen parent engagement and support to assist with foundational skills. And I've seen firsthand how when you have parents who read with their kids at home for 15 minutes a day, it makes a huge difference in the child's reading levels and their progress at school. So any parents that are out there, if you think, well, what can I do to help my child? If you just sit there and read a book with them for 15 minutes a day at night, just some type of reading, that makes a huge difference. I see it in my classroom, and you can tell which kids go home and read and which ones don't. I mean, it's a huge factor in the success of a child's academic reading level. So whatever you, like somebody already mentioned, whatever, Dr. Rodriguez, and the parental involvement. I know you already do a lot with the parents. You keep them informed with Class Dojo, and they have conferences, but I don't know what else we could do. The teachers are really the ones in the front lines who are taking care of this, but I just don't know what else we could do to really help motivate the parents.
So I think this year our focus, again, will be on understanding the reports, the assessment reports they receive, because sometimes we don't have that understanding of what does it mean and how can I help. So that's what we're targeting this school year.
Are we doing AR still?
Yes.
We do have AR.
Right.
Okay. All right. Any further questions or comments or anything?
All good.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Solano,
Yes.
Dr. Rivera, and all the staff. Thank you so much, Ms. Randall, too, for explaining. All righty. Then we'll move on to, that was item 9A, the discussion of the Lone Star Government's board monitoring calendar for October. That was 9A1, the student outcome goals, GPMs, which was goal 1, the beginning of year map reading K-2, and then the constraints, we talked about the class counts, excuse me. Now we'll move on to item 9B, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider approval of the Lone Star Governance Board monitoring calendar for October 2024. Do I have a motion?
So move to approve.
Second? Okay, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Please say aye if you agree.
Aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, aye.
We got
That'll be 4, aye. So we approve the Lone Star Governance Board monitoring calendar. We'll move on to item 10, the consent items. So I'll go ahead and call each one of us if we have anything to pull out. Please state, just go ahead and tell me if you have anything to pull out. Does anybody have anything? Any items? No?
I have one.
Okay.
101.5, approval of proposal award for consultant services pre-K to 12 curriculum and instruction.
Okay, that is 11, which one?
101.5.
101.58.
B.
B, 101.5B. Okay, and Mr. De Los Santos and
I don't know if they have any.
Dr. Rodriguez are not here. So do I have a motion to approve the consent item agenda excluding item 101.5B?
Move to approve.
Okay,
Second.
all right. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Please say aye if you approve the consent agenda.
Aye.
Aye, so that will approve item 10. And we'll go ahead and move to item 10.15B, approval of proposal award for consultant services pre-K to 12 curriculum and instruction RFP number 25-10-23. Mr. Nieto?
Okay, and the reason that I pulled it out were a couple of things. First of all, I've always supported Dr. Rivera in every initiative that he has had, but not on this one for a couple of things. First of all, I think it should have been in executive session to where we could discuss it and disclose who we're hiring and the rates, because the rates are pretty significant. Some of those rates are, the daily rate is higher than some of our principals, and I'm not in agreement with that. I also called a couple of school districts to see if they hire consultants. One 6A school said no. They utilized their instructional facilitators at the campuses. I called another school, 4A and 6A, and the daily rate is much lower than the daily rate that was proposed. And listening to the principles of having more than 22, 23 to 1, we're going to utilize this money to hire consultants, and it is beneficial for the students, but we're still not targeting the teachers. And so it's difficult for me to say I'm going to approve this initiative or I'm going to support it, because I go back to when I was fortunate that I was a principal, and I was fortunate that I had assistant principals that were well qualified. Some are principals now, but what I did, I designated one assistant principal or curriculum facilitator to just focus on curriculum, the same way that late Mrs. Peterson did, and it was Melissa Krink over at Weslaco East that focused just on curriculum, very minimal duties. The same thing with the current principal at Weslaco High School, Mrs. Morales. I was fortunate to have her for 8 years, and she focused just on curriculum. And you can go back, it's facts, you can go back in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009 on our scores and accountability of how well not only Weslaco High, but Weslaco East with Mrs. Peterson did very well. So that's just, I think we discussed it in this executive session, then I think, then I would have said, okay, can we lower this or can we do this? But when we put it in the consent agenda, I'm not going to support it, Dr. Rivera, even though I have supported every initiative that you had since I've been on the board. That's it.
You want to make a motion to table?
Okay.
I guess, my concern, just echoing what Mr. Nieto was saying is, the topic of class size has come up several times today. And, I guess, the strategy versus, maybe trying to reduce the class size as opposed to adding consultants, is my concern too. So, I'm in agreement with Mr. Nieto on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any further discussion? Questions, comments?
That's it.
All right.
My concern would be the rate, the rate as well.
Correct.
Okay,
Are we comparing it to other consultants around
So do you have a
the,
motion to table at this time?
Rio Grande
Or
Valley
this item,
agencies?
or we just vote no right now?
It's, you know,
Or what,
Whatever you
I
guys-
walked out, so I don't know if I walked into a motion or.
on this one, we can have a motion. It's like I mentioned before, had we had an executive session, I would ask more questions.
Right.
You know, and let Dr. Vera provide feedback. But when it's like this, the rate,
Okay.
and I call out of the districts to see what the rate was, that's, I, being a former principal, and as they handle 2,000 students and hire for both high school, over 100 staff members, and their daily rate is going to be lower than these consultants, I just don't agree.
well, maybe we can table it, and then Dr. Rivera can talk to us about it, you know,
We'll make it
in executive. Is that something we can do, legal? And then we can, if they want more clarification on this, we can,
What I would,
To vote?
what I would recommend, if that's the flavor of the board, is if we recommend that, but to bring it to executive session at the next scheduled board meeting to discuss. If not, I would motion right now that, you know what? I vote no.
Yeah.
But, you know, so.
Okay.
and
We-
then
We'll
go
take it
from
to a
there.
vote.
to give it some time so he can, we don't just table it, but explain to us, and then at the next board meeting.
So we're voting.
Well,
No, are we tabling it?
Table.
So so we don't say yes or no, we're gonna table that, he's gonna give us information, and then we
So I
will.
make a motion to
make a
table-
motion.
What is it?
In,
Item
November.
10I5B?
Okay.
Is that? Which one was
We'll
it?
go ahead and, he motioned, do I need a motion to table, Eloy? Yes, you do. Okay, and he seconded by Dr. Rodriguez. So we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. And please say aye if you approve to table this motion and keep it until the next meeting that we have. Say aye if you approve?
Aye.
Right? That was the motion you made, right?
Correct,
The table, yeah.
correct.
Okay,
table.
so we're approving to table it.
Okay.
Okay, so for
We'll
the
do it one by
record,
one, Jackie. That way we have the counts. Do it one
I'm
by
not
one. so
voting
we-
at all. Huh?
Huh? Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to take one by one, so.
Okay, let's do that, that's
people
right,
can vote
because we don't have a quorum. All right, so go ahead and the motion is to table this item
Until
until
the next
we get
board
more
meeting.
information, and we will bring it back in November. Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Okay. Coach Wea?
No.
Mr. Trevino?
Aye.
Mr. Nieto?
Aye.
And Mr. De Los Santos?
Aye.
Okay, that's 4, so motion passes to table it and bring it back in November.
But again, just a reminder, bring it back either in discussion item or in closed session. Because if not, I am not going to support it.
Okay. Dr. Rivera? All right, sounds good. So we will move on to item 11, discussion items. 11A, update on trainings, conferences, events, and consider future agenda item requests by the Board of Trustees. 11A1, discussion for the Board of Trustees to select a date to hold a special board meeting to canvass trustee election returns of the school board trustee election of November 5, 2024, approve order declaring candidates elected to trustee positions, and issue certificates of election.
Yes, the dates to canvass the returns will be either November 13 and probably 14 and 15. So we won't know until we're told by the county. The election, the election is on November the 11th, and then we have Thanksgiving
Oh, yeah, it's the 5th,
the
Doctor.
following week. I'm sorry, the 5th.
Uh-huh.
The 11th is our regular board meeting.
Okay.
So we're looking at those 2 dates, 13 or 14.
Okay.
Okay.
But again, we'll go ahead and poll the board.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. And then we have 11A2, discussion for the Board of Trustees to select a date to conduct 3 Level 3 grievances pursuant to Weslaco Independent School District Policy DGBA Local.
Probably sometime in December. Because November is pretty full. So again, we'll poll the board to see what you think to have this in December.
And Dr. Rivera, with the grievances, I know there's windows. We'll be in compliance?
Yes.
With that?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
All right, there's no further discussion or anything from anybody?
Well, again, I go back to where, when you have these, if you can have them Monday, Tuesday, I'll be here. If it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, fortunately, I'm not here. So
Yeah.
just FYI.
And Tuesdays
As long
I
as
have
we a
class,
quorum.
so Monday would be the best day for me.
Okay.
I don't know about anybody else, but Monday's the best. All right, so we'll go ahead and take a poll for that.
Okay.
And then we'll move on to 12, item 12, discussion and possible action items. We have 12A, Maintenance and Operations Department, 12A1, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider rescinding the action taken on December 19, 2023, as it pertains to their authority to rank the proposals received for the bond construction projects, and for the Board of Trustees to delegate their authority to the administration to rank the proposals to be received for all bond projects.
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Move to approve. Okay, second.
all right. Any discussion, question, comments?
Yes, I wanted to say that I asked, we talked, and I just wanted to clarify for the public as far as the system that we currently have in place, right? We talked about our finances, we talked about our situation, and we've already talked about the responsibility we have for the bond as well too, which is not to just deliver what we said we're gonna deliver on the list, but to deliver more. And we're currently doing that with the system that's in place. We have a system in place that was built off the audit and also tweaked and built off of Dr. Rivera himself as well too. And it's almost bulletproof as far as to get the fair price, the best product, the best service. We also have an out call to all contractors, engineers, and architects, really anywhere in the state, that we're open for business, right? Because before, and I'm gonna be honest with you, in the Valley, sometimes you have a close-knit network and things like that, and people only specifically want to work with certain individuals. We're open for business in Weslaco, okay? And so that means we want the best of the best to come forward, and you're not going to waste your time submitting your applications, your request for qualifications, or whatever the case may be, whatever system we use. So this is on here because I guess I wasn't at the December meeting, but then we made a transition from voting on companies, from the administration, the staff, and their specialists, voting on, ranking the companies and bringing it to the board, and then we check and verify and then accept. And then it switched to, well, now the board's gonna do the rankings and listen to the companies and do the rankings. And so I just don't think with the speed that we're gonna be moving at, that you have the adequate time. And also, like I said, I do residential construction, but I don't do commercial. So I'm not gonna pretend I'm an expert. And realistically, we don't have that expertise, and I think we should leave it to the experts, leave it to the individuals that do have the time to take deep dives and really assess the information, and then bring what they think is the right choice forward. And Dr. Rivera has already proven that with non-bond projects. We saw that we had a budget of 16 million. People kept telling us we were going to spend 19 to 20, and at the end of the day, we spent, I think it was less than 12. So we have a system in place that really, really works. And when you got something like that is saving the taxpayer millions of dollars, and I'll tell you this, there was a person from Region 1 that also came up to me, and they work in finance as well too, especially in that area. They said, wow, I've never seen in the Valley where somebody budgets a certain amount, like 16 million, and they end up spending 12. Usually you see schools budget and they spend the exact amount. If they budget 20 million, you see $19,999 and 89 cents. So we're saving money for the taxpayers. The administration has a great process in place, and of course under the guidance of Dr. Rivera. So we're saving millions of dollars. Why mess with something that isn't broken, right? And so that's why I asked it, and I talked to Dr. Beda, and I know he put this on here to put it back, and we rescind the action and let the administration continue with what they've been doing, which is a great job. So
That's a recommendation.
That's a recommendation.
All right. And just to add to that, that's great. I agree that you have your committees, you guys know what you're doing. But I have been asking for a policy revision for a couple of years now about vendors reaching out to us as board members, not to try to say, oh, I want you to vote for me or influence me, but I want to come talk to you guys at board meetings, or can we go? And I was just thinking, it's just like a public comment. I mean, if anybody comes up and signs up for public comments, it can be, if there are sometimes situations where they could reach out either to me or other board members and ask, hey, we would like to go speak at your board meeting about this or that. And it can be misconstrued as in they're trying to influence votes. So I've been asking for this policy for I think 2 years now. I remember, there were other board members here when I was asking for that policy. And I believe I sent it to you, right, Doctor? About vendors it's called blackout dates, right, Mr. Garza? Like where there's blackout dates and there's no communication between any board members or any vendors or anybody submitting a contract, or it's some blackout dates that they cannot reach out, even to ask, can I go speak at your board meeting about this or that? They cannot do that?
So when we're going through a bidding process, that's actually forbidden.
But it's contractors, not vendors.
That's correct.
Right.
Well,
Vendors have a different policy. right? And
No,
that's-
it's CH purchasing.
But contractors are before,
Anything,
during,
it's a
and after.
bidder. It's a bidder, it's a
Right.
contract.
I think also, I think Coach Trevino mentioned it once.
Right.
You know, that if that's going to happen, to have a workshop where they present and we listen to them.
Right.
But he mentioned the ones that have worked with us, they haven't done a good job, not to allow them to present,
Right.
correct? That's-
Correct.
So you say, there's a company that is applying and it's going to present, but did the East High School HVAC situation that we haven't taken care of, correct? That if that company is on there, that we shouldn't allow them to present.
Right.
Just to be fair and square, and I think that's what Mr. Am I wrong?
No, that's
And-
correct.
But we have to do it before anything, that we have the workshop, and if we want them to present, and we have the time. It's like Mr. De Los Santos said, we don't have the time. And I trust Americo and his committee.
And that's my thing. Let you guys take care of it. Why should they be reaching out to board members? We don't know anything about that. I want you to have that open door policy, in other words, where they should feel comfortable coming to you guys and asking you questions. Because sometimes I've been told, like, well, we're at the mercy of Weslaco. Well, we want to ask Americo if we can come talk, but we're scared. So I don't want to be like, whoa, you're coming to ask me if you can come talk when you can ask him.
So the bidding process, President Sustaita, is completely transparent.
Right.
And
Correct.
so we will have a period of questions and answers and responses. So if there's an architect or engineer involved, then we don't have that window for them to ask the questions that they need after a pre-bid meeting, where we discuss the scope of the work and then we do site visits so that they can get familiar with the site work that they're about to do. And then after they review, or they've had time to review, because we do these pre-bid meetings a week after we've issued out the proposals, to give them time to review the drawings. Then they're allowed to ask questions. We give them at least 2 to 3 days, and then we respond to those questions and try to give them time, plenty of time for them to take the corrective action and whatever adjustments to the bid they need to do based on our response.
Okay.
So everything, it's transparent, and we provide as much flexibility for them to be, it's in our best interest for us to get the most bids possible.
Right.
Americo, how many members are in your team, your committee?
So it
just-
depends. We pick anywhere from 3 to 5. Sometimes we've had 10 people in a committee.
Right.
Okay.
Depends on who's available.
Right.
And who the interested, and not interested, but the party who's involved in that project is.
And I described it on August 1st. You have a committee, you have monitors, right? We have online submissions, and that's one thing I wanted to talk to the district too, is not to go to paper anymore. I mean, we're at a day and age where they all should be online. And the reason you want online is because you have a digital trail on who accesses that application. So nobody can open it until it's day of. But you said it yourself. Architects, engineers are the ones that are in discussion with you. Contractors, or whatever the case may be, or subs, can't contact you at all. They're not supposed to contract you until the plans are done or even be in discussion with the district. So we need to send clear messages out there to people. There's a process in place. Architects, engineers can at a certain period talk to you, but contractors and subcontractors at no point should be talking to school staff or school trustees or engineers prior to plans being finalized or put out for bid. And that's a clear message, and because we do have a lot of work to do, but if you don't follow the process and you bend or go into a gray area that is questionable, then you shouldn't be allowed to work here, right? Because then that affects the validity of our school district and the trustees and all the work that you all do, right? And at the end of the day, it also hurts taxpayers. So we have to be very, very, press that very hard to them and clear to them that you don't make any calls, you don't talk to anybody, okay? Because if not, you're not gonna work here. The only person that has access during that design process, during the schematics, is the architects and the engineers hired for the project. And like you said, there's windows where they come to the district and talk as well. Contractors, subcontractors, you shouldn't even be picking up the phone.
So everything goes through the engineers or the architects.
Right.
And whatever they do after that, if they require any consulting work and so forth, we channel it through them.
And Mr. De Los Santos, just to add to what you're saying, it is important, I agree, that nobody should call, but it's going to be great to a lot of people in the public if you don't have it set in policy. The only way you can make people understand that is if it's in policy in black and white, because people are going to read through the lines and think that they can call or do anything they want. So I've been asking for years Let's get this policy in place. It's not there.
But
So
here-
you can't say, well, people are doing this and they shouldn't work here. But yeah, but if you want that, then put it into policy and then we can do that. Because people are always going to take things great.
process is the same for
Well, I
every
want to go
school
talk at
district.
the board meeting, so I'm going to reach out to whoever I can to come talk, and that's what it's about. But I think this discussion is already over because we've already gone way over our minutes. Do you want to keep on going or
No, I
not?
don't, but there's already something in policy, ma'am. He showed it to us and emailed it to
No, it's not in
everybody.
policy. I asked for that policy. It's not in there yet.
So who will work on that policy, Mrs.?
I sent it to Dr. Rivera already. Mr. Castillo had already done a revision of it and sent it to me.
Okay.
And so it's in the email a couple of weeks ago,
So we
I
will
believe.
have to place it on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
It needs to be in black and white so everybody's clear and understands what the rules are and what the expectations are. Because if you don't, as teachers, administrators, if you don't set rules and expectations, you know that anybody's going to twist it the way they want. You need to have those rules and expectations in black and white because people will read differently if you don't have them. So if we can have that, that'll be great, and we get over this discussion.
Okay.
I know it's time, Jackie, but I do want to, the only reason we're sitting here rescinding this is because Dr. Rivera is here in position here. So we trust what Dr. Rivera
Yes, sir.
is putting down. Prior to that's why there was an audit, because the way we were doing things was not the correct way of doing things. So I don't want to sit here and say, oh, things are being done. No, there was a reason why we took that power away and we started delegating. There was a reason for it. It wasn't just because. So I want to make sure that's clear. I'm on my way out, but in the future, hopefully there's always that possibility of another audit coming forth, just to make sure that as a district, we're doing things right in any year. But right now, we know we're under the guidance of Dr. Rivera, so things have changed tremendously, and there is a big trust. Right. So, back then, there was committees formed that didn't make any sense at all. Why we have an HR director voting on certain committees made no sense. So now we do, the committees, the way we do things have improved tremendously, but there's always a reason why we need to continue to right now there is trust, and hopefully it stays that way.
And one of the things I had talked to Dr. Rivera before too is we have surplus funds. The last time we did a forensic audit, it had to come out of it came out of the district budget. It was an expenditure that we made. There's a lot of variables as to why it dragged on for so much. But at the end of the day, it saved millions of dollars in restructuring, and it kind of was a catalyst to where we're at now, as far as restructuring and making the changes that we made. And I've kind of mentioned Dr. Rivera, but just off the cuff, but I'll mention it here, is that we have surplus funding that we're getting right now from the bond monies that we have. So I'd like to kind of encumber or move about $250,000 to $300,000, and then later bring to the board. I wanted to bring to the board later to do a self-imposed forensic audit at the end of the entire bond projects. Once the entire bond projects are complete, just in that area, do a forensic audit as well too, again, just so that the taxpayers know it won't cost them a thing, and that way the taxpayers know that it was done right, and it sets us up in the future for another bond. Because the only reason I'm so passionate about this is these kids in our community have waited over 20-something years to see improvements, okay? You have some campuses out there with portable AC systems. You got some campuses that their AC systems are outdated and can't find parts to repair, and it takes us a few days, but you guys work very hard to get it done. So we can't make any mistakes, right? Because what we got to do now is set up, because there's still more structural improvements that we need to do. So just like Dr. Rivera said, if we show the community that we can handle the first bond, do it right, give them more, and then keep our finances in a position where it's not going to raise taxes on taxpayers, then they'll gladly support it, right? Because they love their kids, right? Just like we love our own. So that's why I'm very passionate about this, and I will bring it to the board later as well too. If we're done with everything prior to me being here, I have another term, right? But a self-imposed forensic audit on the bond as well. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. There's no further questions or comments. This is item 12A, and we had, the motion was to approve the rescinding of the action taken on December 19 and give the authorization to the administration to bring proposals to be received for all bond projects. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote. I'll start with Trustee Rodriguez.
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar.
Aye.
Trustee Trevino.
All right.
Trustee Nieto.
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. 12A2, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to approve the administration's ranking recommendation of the proposal received for the retractable basketball goals at Weslaco High School and Weslaco East High School project CSP number 25-08-07, rebid, and to authorize the administration to negotiate and approve the contract. Dr. Rivera?
Yes, there was only one proposal, and staff and I are recommending ADP, LIMCO, for this project.
So I have
To approve?
Okay, well, Mr. Nieto and Trustee Rodriguez, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos?
Aye.
Trustee Nieto?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. 12A3, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to approve the administration's ranking recommendation of the proposals received for the storefront doors and entryways project funded with the Safety and Security Standards Formula Grant, CSP number 25-09-14, rebid, and to authorize the administration to negotiate and approve the contract.
There were two proposals. One was incomplete, so we're going to recommend RGV Renovations or McAllen for this project.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino?
Aye.
Trustee Nieto?
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos?
Aye.
Motion passes. 12A4, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to approve the administration's ranking recommendation of the proposals received for the playground equipment areas and canopies project for pre-K and special needs students at all elementary schools, and to authorize the administration to negotiate and approve the contract.
So move to approve.
Second?
We'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Please say aye if you approve.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Now, Doctor, just a question. For LSG, can we put all this in consent? Because it's all just, or does it have to be one by one? All these items that we just had, you know how our coach said, if you're gonna leave it up to Dr. Rivera, just put it in consent agenda and ask questions. Can we do that next time instead of, just to save on the,
You can, if we're gonna have the administration rank them,
yeah.
you can.
Because this was all administration ranking
They're all the
anyway.
same.
So,
You follow
that way
the
we
same
don't have to spend
Correct.
minutes on it.
Correct.
All right. That takes us to item number 13, closed meeting to discuss. 13A, personnel matters, Texas Government Code 551.074. 13A1, Human Resources Department. 13A1A, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation of certified personnel and non-contractual personnel. 13A1B, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirement of certified professional and non-contractual personnel. 13B, consultation with attorney regarding 13B1, pending or contemplated litigation. 13B2, settlement offer, or 13B3, matter in which the duty of the attorney of the Weslaco Independent School District under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. And 13B4, discussion, consultation, and deliberation regarding waiver of attorney-client communication privilege for limited purpose. It is now 7:47 p.m., and we will be meeting in closed session. and we are back in open meeting. We'll start with 14A, possible action, if necessary, on items discussed in closed meeting. 14A1, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on employment or certified personnel and non-contractual personnel.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Please say aye if you approve.
Aye.
All right, 14A2, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirements of certified professional and non-contractual personnel. Do you have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, go ahead and take it to a vote. Say aye if you approve.
Aye.
All right, and 14A3, discussion and possible action regarding waiver of attorney-client communication privilege for limited purpose. Is a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Please say aye if you approve.
Aye.
Okay, that was 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, motion passes. That takes us to adjournment, 8:14. It is 8:14 p.m. and we are now adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.